A video game's trailer can only provide so much context. You can research and read interviews about an upcoming game, but you'll never really know about it until it's in your hands and you're playing it. Enter the glory that is the game demo, a way gamers can try a game without buying it. I love and support demos, and I wish every single dev provided demos for their games. The end of last week provided a treat as Cygames released a demo for GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink for the PS4 and PS5. Relink is one of my most anticipated games for this year, and since it feels like we've been waiting 8 billion years to play it, I had to jump on the demo. I played it on PS4 since I don't have a PS5 and there was no demo for the PC. And yeah, I'm gonna be a grump about that. It fucking sucks that there's no demo on Steam. Like, why the hell not have one? Well, let's take a look at the GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink demo and see just what kind of game we got here. I went through all 3 game selections available: tutorial, story, and quest modes. The tutorial is very straightforward and explains the combat just fine. You have a regular attack, strong attack, which can be used to perform combos, along with a jump that can also be used to launch enemies and combo in the air. There's a dodge, special moves, and a guard, so pretty standard stuff here. I could tell right away playing the tutorial section that the game is going to be pretty simple combat-wise. It definitely felt like I was playing a Dynasty Warriors game using all the combos and the combo sequences provided. I found the dodge to be a little weird as I'm not used to using R2, but I did like that you could pretty much cancel out of any move using it. Fortunately, the controls feel like they'll be very easy for me to adapt to. Next, I jumped into the story quest, and this is where my interest started to rise, as this game just looks beautiful. Seeing the area in its entirety was pretty breathtaking. The goal of this mission is to defeat monsters at each point until the map is cleared. Once again, this is very reminiscent of a Dynasty Warriors type game. But I found a few happy surprises along the way, like breakable pieces of the environment that gave me some gold, some random item drops and treasure chests scattered about, a kind of time sequence where you need to collect jewels to reveal the hidden treasure, and omen statues that unleash much tougher foes. And I also thought it was great that you can actually fall off the map. I was definitely happy that the game offered more than just combat, even though it's not very much. Honestly, the feeling I got going through the story quest reminded me of an arcade playstyle, almost like an old school beat 'em up. Like in Golden Axe or Final Fight, you beat up dudes, but you also break barrels and collect items, except in Relink it's a bigger scale and area. If a game is reminding me of the arcade, then that's only good news for me. Throughout the stage, and yeah, I'm calling them stages, because that's what it feels like, you're introduced to more mechanics of the game, the most important one being the link system. While landing attacks during combat, a prompt will appear for a link attack. Activate it on time and you zoom over to an enemy a party member is fighting and land an attack. A meter will start to build, and once you activate the link attack when the meter is at 100%, it activates a slowdown to deal a lot of damage to the enemies. It's a pretty overpowered reward for just noticing a prompt on the screen and pressing a button enough times. Once again, this combat and its design feel very simple. Each character can also build up super moves that can either be done in succession, or you could change the setting to have the AI party members automatically use it as soon as it's built up. They do big damage and wraps itself up spectacularly at the end with a giant combo super move. It's dazzling to look at, and another big reward for just mashing buttons. There's also the ability to lock onto enemies, but I really didn't like to use it, unless I needed to whip around real quick to find the next enemy. More often than not, I found it quite annoying as I preferred to just freely move around. At the end of the stage, there's a boss battle, and it was very basic at first, as the dude has a giant shield, so I just needed to get behind him and attack. The boss also did some very head-scratching things, like run to the corner and just stand there and guard. I don't know what's up with this, but I'm just assuming this is one of the first bosses in the game, so I'm not too critical about it. But then the boss entered Bloodthirsty mode, and this made the fight fun. In Bloodthirsty mode, the boss started doing big AoE moves, dropping meteors from the sky, and just went nuts. I honestly wish the entire boss fight was just this, as I actually needed to pay more attention to what I was doing. And that's one thing I noticed. This game is very button mashy, once again making it feel like an arcade game to me. With the boss defeated, I then went to quest mode. Here you're in a town that represents a hub where there's a quest counter, shop, and blacksmith, though the shop and blacksmith are not usable in the demo. I also went through the menus and started viewing the playable casts, and discovered that each character plays differently. For example, Gondagoza requires you to time your attacks to build his eternal rage meter, which can be unleashed for a massive attack. Whereas Charlotta gains attack power by landing as many attacks as possible. To make a quick comparison, and also because I've been playing so much of it recently, it's like in Monster Hunter World, where each weapon plays different and has different strategies, but in RELINK, it's the characters that will have different playstyles and strategies, which makes me assume that the game loop will be grinding every character, and as they advance, they'll get more abilities and start to separate themselves more uniquely. Now, the quest counter offered 3 different quests. You accept them and immediately get thrown into an arena where you start to slay monsters and conquer your objectives. This reminded me of the Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse games, where you have a list of parallel quests that just involves fighting enemies and can be played online with other people, and the hub town itself, which is starting to become super common in a lot of games nowadays, really reminds me of like Xenoverse or Monster Hunter World. Each quest has some mini objectives that can lead to more overall points at the end of the fight, which I'm assuming will determine the amount of XP everyone gets. One thing I did like is how the game tracks each character's point total. You can basically tell who contributed the most, so players that are more skilled can advance faster. At least that's what I'm assuming. I could be totally wrong about that. And I really like the point total at the end because, once again, it makes me feel arcade vibes. I haven't messed with the online yet, but I'm looking forward to when the game comes out. Overall, I enjoyed playing RELINK. I'm predicting this is going to be a very grindy game, but with a very simple combat system. I, of course, love games that require you to be on your toes and strategize, but I also love games that let me shut my brain down and just stare at graphical eye candy while mashing buttons. I could definitely see myself sliding this game into the podcast game category. And I do want to reiterate, I think this game has a very simple playstyle like a Dynasty Warriors game. I don't see it being very deep at all, so if you're thinking about getting it, you should know that. But then again, I could be completely wrong about every assumption I made. RELINK feels like an awesome modern day arcade game to me, and I'll be getting it day one and I'm excited to play it. I'm also going to do another video after I've actually played the full game. Have you played the RELINK demo? What are your thoughts on the game? Feel free to share them. Thank you for watching.